What is up, guys? This is Trypal. Welcome back to another Fortnite tutorial. In today's video, we're discussing the best shotgun aim tips for Season 5 Fortnite Battle Royale. Now guys, Season 5 has changed shotguns dramatically. We just have to accept that shotguns are just not what they used to be. The first step, like I just said, the first step to basically being good with the shotgun in Season 5 is recognizing that it's just not what it was in Season 4. It's no longer the gun that you can single-handedly rely on to win 1v4 encounters. You simply have to use other combinations to get through these situations. Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying that I agree with these changes at all, and in fact I don't. I absolutely hate the changes that were made to the gameplay, specifically the shotguns and now the new spray and pray meta. I don't like any of it. I think it should go back to what it was during Season 4 when there was an actual skill gap and you had good players being rewarded for their good skill. But regardless of all that, we have to make the best of the situation at hand, and so that's what I'm going to do for you today in this video. I'm going to give you all the info that you need to know in order to maximize your performance with the shotgun in Season 5. So essentially my first tip is to avoid the shotgun confrontation for as long as you possibly can. In this new meta, it's spray and pray. That's what everybody's naming it. That's what I'm naming it. That's what it is. You spray your weapon and you pray that you get a kill. That's basically what this meta is. And so essentially, what you're going to want to do is stay back with your AR and spray that for as long as you possibly can. Then when the moment arrives, go ahead and push up with a shotgun. You could easily do a one pump and then switch it to your SMG to play a more aggressive approach. And you can finish up the kill like that. I usually only switch to the SMG if I see that their shields go out. If their shields go out, or I get like a 90 with my shotgun, 90 or above 100, then obviously I think I can pull out my SMG and finish that kill. Otherwise, I'll shoot one shotgun bullet, I'll build some walls, I'll shoot another one, and continue until I feel like I can pull out that SMG and finish the kill. Now, as far as which shotgun you should be using, I personally think that the pump is the way to go. That is until you find a heavy shotgun throughout the match. If you find the heavy, then switch it out for your pump. Now, some people will argue that the TAC is actually a viable shotgun. And for my game style, I don't think it is. For your game style, whoever is, proclaiming this statement, I think that could be possible. The thing about the TAC is, especially now with the SMG nerf, the TAC has become more viable if you can land those proper headshots. If you can land 2 or 3 good headshots with the TAC, then you are easily going to defeat opponents with an SMG. The thing is, most of these encounters with the SMG is at a range in which the TAC will most likely not be good at. And so in my opinion, I don't think it's worth it. The other big issue I see with attack, especially in my game, is that it messes with your movement. If you're trying to outgun an SMG with attack, then you are standing still and you are just gunning them down in the head, trying to get those headshots. But if you're sitting there shooting 2 or 3 bullets, you have the potential of being sniped, being shot from somebody else very easily, and you are a standing still target. You are bound to have something bad happen to you, especially if you have my luck in Fortnite. Now what this also does is it allows everyone to know your exact pinpoint location. So this ties into what I was just saying. Now everybody can shoot at you because they know where you are. Whereas if you're using a pump or a heavy, then you shoot once, you build a little bit, shoot again. At one point you go ahead and switch it up and change to the SMG, finish a kill, build some more, and keep going until the whole squad is gone. So the main point is the TAC can be viable for your gameplay, but for me and for most people it's not going to be optimal. In Season 5 at least. Now, a pretty obvious tip that I'm going to go ahead and mention is that you need to be patient in your encounters. Especially in Season 5, you have to have very, very good positioning. That is the golden rule of Season 5, is to have good positioning. So in order to accomplish this good positioning, sometimes you have to be patient with whenever you time your first shot, time your first kill, all of that stuff. You have to be very patient with your shot, even whenever you're in that big encounter, especially if you're doing solo squads, which is what I do recommend you guys do to practice this stuff. But basically going to solo squads, and even if you're in that 1v4, everybody's spraying at you, you gotta be patient with where you're putting your shots, where you're peeking out, all of that stuff. Now as far as which shotgun tactics you should exactly be using in Season 5, I have waited a long time to make this video. I think we're almost already 4 weeks into Season 5. And I've found that the slow flick and the fast flick, which I mentioned in a previous video, if you haven't seen that video yet, I'll link it at the top right of your screen. But essentially, the slow flick and the fast flick, any flicks of any kind, I don't think are useful or as effective in Season 5. The reason for this is that the flick abuses auto-aim on console, and now the shotgun has a slight reward system for being more accurate. By this I mean that the shotgun now has a consistent bullet spread, and so if you consistently have your white dot of your reticle in the middle of your opponent's head, then you are always going to have the exact same bullet spread, always get the exact same damage. Of course, the only fluctuation with that is how far away you are from your opponent, so that plays a role. But essentially, as I said, this makes it to where you have a reward system somewhat for your shotgun accuracy. So with the flicks, you're going on a very fast motion across an opponent's body, and then whenever your reticle crosses their body, you pull the trigger, right? Now how this worked in Season 4 was you probably got lucky with your bullet spread and the auto aim would push most of the bullets to their head, and you would get a good amount of damage. Now with the consistent bullet spread, that auto aim is not going to really play that big a role as far as where the bullets are going, but rather now it only matters where your white dot of your reticle is. So for example, in Season 4, if I were to pull off the flick, then I could get lucky and get like an 80 damage for a reticle that's not even close to, going over the entirety of this opponent's head. Now in Season 5, if I have that exact same thing, I'm only going to get half the damage than I was before. And maybe even less, you don't know. It all depends on where that white dot of your reticle is. So with that said, I don't think that the slow flick and the fast flick are viable in Season 5 anymore. Hopefully they change some things and make the skill gap a little bit bigger again, but until then, I do not recommend using flicks in Season 5. I tried it for 3 weeks and I can't do it. And I'm not saying that they are completely useless. The people that are really good at flicking can still get insane damage with their flicks, so don't think that you can't do it if you're really good, but if you're not really good at it, and you don't have a lot of time to practice, such as myself, then just forget it. Instead, you're going to want to use these other strategies. So as I also mentioned in that video, you have something called quick zoom. So what this does is it concentrates those bullets in a central location whenever you zoom in, thus creating a greater chance of you getting more damage with a headshot. So this strategy I recommend using entirely. Like, this needs to be your central focus of aiming. Always try to, if you're on the ground at least, if it's ground combat, like your boots are actually on the ground, you're not jumping in midair, then go ahead and do the quick zoom method. I use this all the time mid-fight and it works out well. You're going to want to do it and then follow up with a jump and move in random locations so you don't get shot. Now the other method is called pre-positioning. I also went over this in that video. But essentially what pre-positioning is whenever you are predicting where your opponent is going to be, you place your reticle in that location where you think he's going to go, and then whenever your opponent does go in that location, you pull the trigger when your reticle is over his head. So it's very simple, but it's also very useful, and for some reason a lot of people don't do it. Guys, you have to be doing this. Like, this is so useful, especially on console where it's not so easy to have that pinpoint accuracy that you can get on PC. So once again, guys, use the quick zoom and the pre-positioning method of aiming. That's going to be your two methods of aiming that's going to be the most effective in Season 5. Now this all said, like I said before, the shotgun is no longer going to be that satisfying one pump or two pump. Okay, you have to pump and then pull out the SMG to finish the kill most of the time. You just have to accept that. I mean, that's the way that the game's going. I don't like it. Most people don't like it. I really hope that they revert it back to what it was before. But until then, we have to accept it and make the best of the situation that we have. Now, with all of that said, I want to go over some sensitivity stuff real quick. For slow sensitivity players, that would be 7 on your X or below. Then I would say you need to use traditional aiming. You can use these methods, like I would still use quick zoom, and I would still use pre-positioning, but you also can just rely on normal aiming. You can't really explain normal aiming. It's just traditional aiming. You try to get your reticle over your opponent and you shoot them. It's very simple, but that's what you should be doing on a slower sensitivity such as 7 and below. Now 7 plus will be considered a fast sensitivity, and what I recommend you guys do is use the pre-positioning tactic for the most part. Still use the quick zoom and still sometimes use a traditional aiming method. But the pre-positioning is so effective in getting those high sensitivity shots to land. So definitely use those if you can. And like I said, I rely on this stuff all the time and it works out wonders. Now I'm going to play a few clips that show all of this stuff, every single tactic that I discussed in this video. I'm going to just bunch it all together and show you guys examples of how you should be going about doing these fights. Some of them are squad clips, some of them are solo clips. There's just a bunch of combination of stuff. And you should be able to learn and pick up a few things throughout it. Now, if you have any questions for whatever reason at the end of the video, go ahead and leave me a comment. I always read all the comments and I love responding to you guys when I can, so make sure you do that. Also, I respond on Twitter. My Twitter is @Trypal_YT if you want to do that. That's fine too. And yeah, so with that said, I'm going to leave you with the clips and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.